Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Abe.
Amanda.
I'm Jay.
I'm Josh too.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here. And welcome back to my Terminator franchise review series, where I'm going to cap this franchise review series off with Terminator Dark Fate from 2019.
Sarah Connor, the day has come.
He's the most lethal Terminator ever created. You don't fight it. You run from it.
Clearly you don't know me. That thing will keep coming.
Based on the weapons we have, I estimate our chances at 12%. Make it 9%.
Terminator Dark Fate, rated R.
Terminator Dark Fate stars Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mackenzie Davis, Natalie Reyes, Gabriel Luna, and is directed by Tim Miller. The plot of Terminator Dark Fate is that Sarah Connor and a hybrid cyborg human must protect a young girl from a newly modified liquid Terminator from the future. Now, here's the thing. Before I get into my negatives, I would like to discuss a bit of history with this film with me. Now, recently on my channel, I've been covering the Terminator franchise, as far as reviews go and that, which were the first times I've ever seen these movies. And I would honestly consider myself a fan of this franchise, actually. I really enjoyed this franchise. There were only two massively disappointing films for me, and that was Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines and Terminator Genisys. If you want to know where the films rank for me, go check out my previous ranking video, or just wait till I make a new ranking video, because I'm going to update that one to include this film on the list. But, yeah, so I was, when the news broke for Terminator Dark Fate and that, and they mentioned they were bringing back Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were, of course, also bringing back James Cameron, who did Terminator 2, and this was going to be they were kind of pulling a Halloween 2018 where, every film after the second movie, after the first two movies, do not exist, are not part of this film's canon. Kind of wiping the slate clean. So, for me, I was like, okay, that sounds really interesting. And once they announced that they had the director of Deadpool, Tim Miller, attached, I was like, okay, you got me a Drake movie. I was actually excited. Then I saw the teaser, and I was not impressed at all with the teaser. I was not. It did nothing to get me excited for this movie. Plus, honestly, I felt like the film was going to, be complete crap. Thought it would have ended up. And then I started hearing some stuff about it. Really bad things about this movie. And I was really concerned for it. I really was. I was actually kind of pissed. I was. So, I was like, for me, I wasn't going to see it in theater because I didn't want to give them my money, just in case if it was everything they said it was. And, I just waited till either I get pawn shop or somebody gives it to me. When somebody did give it to me, Joshua, you've seen him on the channel, he gave me his copy of Terminator Dark Fate, the Blu-ray and everything, which I gave to one of my brothers, who I've been watching this franchise with. So, Joshua, if you're watching this, I do thank you for, we really thank you for giving us this movie. Definitely save us the time and money, that's for sure. So yeah, I was all worried about this film. So, I guess we'll just get to my thoughts on the movie now. What are my positives with Terminator Dark Fate? Honestly, for me, strangely enough, there are quite a bit of positives. This was honestly a surprise of a movie. For one, You know, I felt like it took the franchise in somewhat of a new direction that honestly wasn't that bad, actually. Uh, it still kept, I like the fact that it kept, at least tonally and stylistically, it matched the first two films actually pretty well. It felt like the first two movies, so that was awesome. I actually did like some new characters, actually. I especially liked Mackenzie Davis as Grace. This uh, human cyborg hybrid thing, from the future. And, I really did like her character, actually. Um, and that's the one thing I was worried about. I was worried about, like, oh great, this is not going to be good, and plus it's a character we've seen before. It's like with Terminator Salvation. And surprisingly, they did this character really well, and also, Mackenzie Davis did a great job as far as performing this character. Also, it was really great to see Linda Hamilton back in this. She was really great in it, actually. Really good performance by her, actually. Also, Arnold Schwarzenegger is back in this, and that was really fun to see. I mean, it was a bit weird because without getting into any spoilers, let's just say this version of the Terminator has settled down, you know, and that was really weird actually. Seeing Terminator settle down, have a life, and that was kind of weird. I mean, it was nice, but it was kind of weird, you know. And as far as what they did with Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film, it really much reminded me of Terminator 2, actually. You know, even had somewhat of the same emotional bits as Terminator 2. Which, if you guys seen my review of Terminator 2, I actually did end up tearing up with that movie, because especially when they axed off Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, I was actually choking up quite a bit with that movie. And I kind of was with this film, actually. Also, the action sequences were awesome, actually. Like, one of the issues I had with the marketing is that especially now after watching the full movie, is that the trailers and the advertisements did not really showcase how good the action scenes were in this movie. And you know what? This was one of those cases, where, the marketing was so bad, like, that made the movie look awful. And, if I was a Paramount in that, or whoever made this movie, I would have fired the production house who made the trailer, who made the marketing for this film. Like, the trailers, the TV spots, I would have fired them. I would have hired someone else. But I even made trailers that I felt like were better than the trailers they were coming out with. So thankfully, the film wasn't as bad as the trailers. Also, I thought the abilities of the Rev 9 Terminator were actually pretty cool, actually. It was kind of like a combination of the T-800 and the T-1000 from Terminator 1 and 2. It was kind of cool because he could, use the liquid ability of the T-1000 to kind of morph into two different Terminators, the endoskeleton body and the liquid form. And that was honestly pretty cool. Also, it was nice to see a rated R Terminator movie in this, with blood and everything. That was good. And another thing I was worried about with this film that wasn't really a concern really now, after watching it, was, I was hearing everybody say how it's going to be a politically driven movie and everything, and which I hate politically driven films, actually, especially now these days. For me, I don't want to see that in any films. I don't. No matter what side you're on politically, I don't want to see that crap in my movies. I don't even add that stuff in my films I make. So, and, considering where the film was going to take place at some point, like the Mexican border wall and that, and considering how that's a really big topic now, and that, which, to be honest, I'm actually kind of tired of hearing that topic. I felt like it was really going to hammer in the political bullshit nonsense and that. And honestly, it wasn't really bad, really. In fact, the whole Mexican border wall thing was actually just a short sequence, actually. It really didn't dwell on it or anything like that. And in fact, we felt like this whole film was going to be politically driven, and we didn't, me and my brother didn't notice any political nonsense in the film at all. So that was really refreshing, actually. Because we were expecting it to be like that, like political nonsense trash, and it wasn't. And also, this is kind of a controversial thing, but and I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers, which if you do not want to be spoiled by this movie, click right here to where you could just get straight to my negatives. But, which I'm going to talk about spoilers and my negatives, so when I get to that, I'll post a time card where you could skip to just my rating. So, but yeah, so you've been warned. So, going to get into spoilers now. So, one of the things I was hearing about this movie that kind of got me worried was the fact that they were going to kill off John Connor. They brought back Edward Furlong for John Connor, who I thought honestly was my favorite actor to portray John Connor, and my favorite portrayal of the character. And, I was excited by that, but, at least as far as him coming back, but I wasn't really keen on them just killing him off. Now, if that was done right, and I was hearing he was just killed off in the opening, with no ceremony whatsoever, and, honestly, I would say it was kind of the case, but also kind of not the case in that regard. As far as, killing him off with no ceremony. Now, they did kill him off in the opening, which, here's the thing, I don't mind the idea of them killing off John Connor, because honestly, I think, that might be a good way to move away, to move forward from the franchise, because this franchise has been so heavily focused on John Connor, So, I don't mind the idea of that, and the only time I think, now you could focus on John Connor is if you were to make another film like Terminator Salvation, where it focuses on the war, the future war between, humanity and the machines, That's the only time now I think you could focus on John Connor. Because after Terminator 2, the other times they tried to weren't really that good. Now, again, especially Terminator Genesis, I didn't really care for what they did with John Connor in that film. So, but for me, I get why some people would not like this decision, because, he kind of went down without a fight or anything like that. I agree, I honestly would have preferred if they did intend on killing off John Connor, for him to kind of go down with a fight, basically, him, maybe, even if it was during the opening, maybe him kind of fighting off a Terminator to protect, his mother, Sarah Connor, or something like that, and he gives his life for that. And that could still motivate Sarah Connor throughout the rest of this movie, But at the same time, too, I think they still pay respects to John Connor in that regard, basically, you have, at least at the point of unknown contact, basically giving Sarah Connor location details and everything like that for Terminators that pop up and that here and there. Around the country and that, and which is later turns out to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, who goes by the name of Carl in this film, was giving her the coordinates and that to hunt down Terminators, and basically he was doing it for John, that even every time he would send her a text, it's like at the end of it would say for John. So, plus you have Sarah Connor wanting to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger's character Carl, because Carl was the one who killed John Connor, but he eventually grown a conscience and that, and it understands what he took from her and that, but at the same time, Sarah Connor's so fueled by, rage, and vengeance for the death of her son, that she's wanting to avenge her son and that. So I think they do pay actually quite a bit of respect to John Connor in that regard. His presence is still felt within the movie. But that's enough about that. Let's get into my negatives. What are my negatives with Terminator Dark Fate? Honestly, for me... Oh, and another positive I have with Terminator Dark Fate is the cinematography. The cinematography is actually really great in this. The camera work in that is really great. Also, the music is actually not bad either. I actually do like it's kind of like the Terminator mixed with a bit of, kind of a Mexican flavor, I also do like the setting of, Mexico. And I do like the setting, having it set place in Mexico. It's a interesting location, and I think it's different, and they do some actually fun things with it. Now let's get on to my negatives. What are my negatives with Terminator Dark Fate? Honestly, for me, one of my negatives with this film is that you now have a new character who's meant to be the leader of the Resistance in the future, that Mackenzie Davis's character is trying to protect, and that's the character of Danny, and like this young girl that they're trying to protect, this teenager, and she just wasn't really that interesting. Actually, they didn't really develop her character that well. You don't get to know much about her except that she has a brother, a family. You get a little interaction with her and her family before the Terminator stuff happened. But they seem to really rush her character, actually. And when she, her backstory is revealed and her connection to, Mackenzie Davis's Grace is revealed, it's like trying to show that she's a great, motivational speaker and that, and honestly, not really, All it really was is just like, hey, we should be fighting the machines, not ourselves, because that's what they want. And, yeah, anybody would be able to say that, I would have been able to say that, because it's like, no duh. I mean, she isn't awful, just I wish they developed her character a lot more to where we could have, grown to really care for the character, especially since she was meant to technically, in a sense, replace John Connor. Also, even though I thought the Rev 9 had some cool abilities in that, I'm sorry, the actor who played Rev 9, like the Rev 9 Terminator, was not intimidating. I mean, what has happened, like, the last, seriously, the only Terminator I found really intimidating was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, the T-800. I didn't found, the T-1000 really all that intimidating, except for some of the abilities in it. We definitely really didn't found the TX, the Terminatrix, all that intimidating. In fact, it was a sex bot, let's be honest. So yeah, like, the main antagonist Terminators that appear in these movies have not been really that intimidating. In fact, I was talking with my brother, and even he thinks I would have been a much more intimidating Terminator than, this guy, Gabriel Luna. Now, he wasn't bad in it. Gabriel Luna as the Rev 9 wasn't awful in it. In fact, I honestly would say he was better than, whoever they got for the TX, the Terminatrix and Terminator 3. I think that so far is the worst antagonistic Terminator we've seen in this franchise. So, but yeah, I mean, this guy just came across off as either just like somebody working at a grocery store, like at a food market, or somebody who just graduated either high school or college. Not that intimidating. And honestly, for me, those are my only negatives, which is a surprise. Actually, a legitimate surprise. So with that said, I'm going to give Terminator Dark Fate a 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, this was a surprise of a film. I wasn't expecting it to give it a 4 out of 5, or even past a 3-star. I was, from the trailers and everything I was hearing, it was going to be complete and utter crap. But thankfully it wasn't. It was actually a very enjoyable movie. I did like some of the new characters, like I said, I did like the character of Grace, played wonderfully by Mackenzie Davis. I think she did a great job in that role. All the acting, for the most part, was really good, especially from, Linda Hamilton, Arnold Schwarzenegger. All my concerns, honestly, weren't an issue in this movie at all. All the concerns I had with it were wiped away. So yeah, if, you haven't seen this one yet, and you're a big of Terminator fan as I am at this point, I highly recommend you go watch it. This film may turn off some people, I could tell. It almost turned me off, but after I got it from Josh and that, because, it was free, so I was like, we might as well watch it. And we did, and I really enjoyed myself. I almost kind of wish I saw it in the theater. Almost. So that's it for this review, and also that's it for this franchise review series. I'm going to be doing updating my ranking video to include Terminator Dark Fate. So be sure to look out for that one. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I won't be back. Unless if they end up making another film in this franchise, in which, yeah, I will be back.